Just like we talk about width and space in the backswing, width and space in that finish. The knees coming together, ensuring that there's virtually nothing left on that trail foot.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. Kerrod here on the range today at Trump International in Dubai, here with my good friend Alex. Alex, pleased to have you on today.
Good to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex is one of the top coaches, most sought after coaches in the world. And today we're going to talk a lot about dynamic movement, where the body, the arms and the club should be, the sequencing of the golf swing, how to get that optimal body position and club position coming into the moment of impact to get the most out of your ball striking. Alex, I'm excited, pumped to have you here. Let's get into it.
Ooh, that's flush. So let's talk finish. Okay, finish is something that I find the conversation often gets directed towards when trying to understand what a player needs to feel, even in the downswing or through the golf ball. Having a clear understanding as to where they need to end up helps connect those dots.
Okay. So let's say I put this ball down on the ground here. Let's expand on the finish concept.
Yes.
So after I hit that one there, it felt great off the club face.
Yep.
I felt balanced and poised. How do you then put that into your teachings with players?
Okay, so I'd start with feet. Okay. Where do you feel pressure in through that left foot? Like which part of the foot holds more of the pressure?
So we'll stand in this direction here, right? And as I set up to the golf ball, let's say I'm just going to make an air swing and finish very poised in my finish position. If I was really thinking about where the pressure in my feet is located, I would say very much so on the outstep of that front foot, to the point where you'll actually see a lot of tour pros. They almost roll their ankle a little bit, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They can almost wiggle their toes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see a lot of recreational golfers finish like this.
Correct.
This leg actually extended, the pelvis back, the chest down.
Yes.
And the arms bunched up.
Yes.
Doesn't really look as powerful and as poised as what you see with the professional golfer. Now, is this a mobility, flexibility issue? We get that all the time.
Again, this can be related to foot flare.
Absolutely.
Okay, do we have enough foot flare to support that rotational movement and clear that left hip? With insufficient foot flare, we're going to struggle with that internal rotation through that left hip.
Because what I also did feel in the finish position there is the majority of the pressure was on the outstep, but more so towards the heel as well.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So if I get my toes pointed 2 in, and then I work towards finishing here, like intuitively, I feel like I'm going to fall over.
Yes.
So you do that 100 times, your body's going to go, well, that's a danger zone.
Yes.
I don't want to lose my balance. I'm going to hang back.
Yeah.
Low points affected, hit some fat shots, thin shots.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So
well, there's limits. Okay, we look at those joints. We're working through the ankle, knee, and hip of that lead side. There's limits to the rotation that we can take on. And if we come at it with a perfectly straight on foot, the vast majority of people that aren't hypermobile are going to struggle with that range of motion.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting in soccer, and I don't play soccer myself, but I found out this the other day is I was relating a lesson, the information in making adjustments such as this.
Yes.
And I said, very much so in a follow-through segment of the lesson, getting him to feel the pressure on the outstep of the front foot. And he said, well, it feels like I'm going to fall over. Surely that's wrong.
Yes.
And I said to him, he's a soccer coach, and I said, well, when you're teaching, let's say a kid for the first time is coming in, he's learning the game of soccer. Yep. And he says he's about, or he feels like he's going to fall over. So let's say I'm kicking this ball and I kick it really high all the time.
Yes.
One of the principles that I've learned is that you need to have your head relatively over the ball.
Yes.
To ensure that you get solid contact. Right?
Correct.
And he'll go, well, the kids always say that they feel like they're going to fall forward.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, the head has mass. When we shift mass in relation to where we are with our base of support, it throws off our equilibrium. Okay, I know a lot of golfers that have been more prone to finishing their golf swings with all the pressure into the lead toes, nothing into the heel. These are golfers that are often going to find opening up an extreme challenge.
Correct.
Okay, learning how to work into that heel. I relate it to, if you look down at the average putting mat and you see the arc that it creates, think of your pressure working in a very similar way. If you think of your pressure working in an arc, just like a putting mat, we'd understand that in the backswing, the pressure is going to work more towards the trail heel.
Great.
Okay, we're going to recenter ourselves and get back to more or less a balanced spot at some point in that downswing. And I'm going to finish off a lot more towards that left heel as I work into the finish.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose some of the reference points that we can use is where the pelvis finishes, right? So
Exactly.
the tip of my pelvis, if I was to drop a golf club from this point, we can see it's actually extended probably a grip length outside my heel.
Yes.
And if I'm really trying to push off as much as I can and get my weight back, and I just feel like I'm rolling my ankle, well, there's a good chance that your pelvis actually hasn't shifted far enough forward.
Yes.
So there's 2 points I want to elaborate on there. The first is that when you are making swing changes, these feelings that you get of discomfort are just suggestions.
Yes.
And your feel is not necessarily matched up to what is real.
Correct.
And how often when you are filming a player, and then they'll go, was that the last swing? Didn't even feel like that.
Yeah, exactly. They don't believe it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
Tiger said that. Tiger said when something's new to him, his feel and his real could not be further apart. He doesn't believe what he sees on video. Yeah. But he knew that as soon as feel and real started to align, he was close to some magic.
I think Tiger knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I believe him.
Yeah. So, okay, let's go up the chain a little bit from here. So we're going down into this finished position. I'm feeling very poised. My pelvis is forward. My weight's on the outstep, feeling more towards the heel. What else are we looking for with our body?
Okay, I love these checkpoints of us being able to look at this and say that we've got that left knee above the ankle. Okay, we've got that hip above or slightly past the ankle. We've turned through. You can see that your abdomen's exposed to the target. If anything, the chest is a little bit higher. It's elevated to the sky more. And that allows us to get into this subtle reverse C style finish where the head can be behind the pelvis. If we want to hit the golf ball up in the air, okay, and I always find the art form is being able to hit compressed shots that go high. Anybody can throw the ball back and compress a stinger. Okay, we all love to do it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll admit it. But to be able to compress it and hit it to the moon, like the very best can, we need to have that extension.
Yeah, absolutely. And that follows on beautifully from a lot of the content we've talked about today in regards to creating an athletic setup.
Correct.
Creating some depth in the backswing. So we can have the time and the sequencing, allowing that pressure to shift into the ball of the front foot, to then allow through the flared front foot, the lead side to extend, and then finishing in this poised, balanced position through the golf ball. And that allows, through that movement that you see with the best players in the world, this movement down with the body, this compression of the upper body, then leading to the absolute extension of the body through the golf ball. And you see the long drivers from an address position, let's say the chest is down, they'll extend a lot in the backswing.
They certainly will.
Right? Just the same as if you were going to chop wood with an axe, you could do it this way.
Yes.
Otherwise, you could do this way.
Yes.
That is that upper body extension, creating more force so we can stay relatively centered, to shift more mass and pressure down, to then allow us, as we're rotating, to then push up and create an effective transfer of energy into the back of the golf ball.
Exactly.
Okay.
Extension followed by flexion followed by extension.
Yeah.
Okay.
And technical terms, but up, down, up.
Absolutely. If I'm trying to jump as high as possible, I'm going to come in from a high point, low myself, and then drive up. It's always from length. It's that stretch, shorten cycle. If I can create that length, when I do contract, when I do drive, I'm going to create a lot more energy.
Yeah, great. So let's say that a player is working on their finish position and they hit a shot and they go, okay, so Alex and Kerrod have said that I need to get my hips forward through the golf ball. What about the orientation and the position of the legs here?
Love that one. Love that one. Common one in my lessons is trying to understand the trail knee needs to work towards the lead knee. Okay, the knees need to kiss in the finish.
Yeah.
So common points, like we've talked about the extension through the pelvis. We've talked about making sure that we can get that whole left side stacked up on each other. But us being able to create this banked trail foot. Okay, that's that trail foot working inwards, that knee is going to work in towards that lead leg, and being able to get the knees to kiss in the finish is a great way to ensure that that hip, knee, and ankle have worked correctly. Yeah, absolutely. So we see very often that a lot of players will get this spun out look in the downswing. Yes. Based on trying to get way too open too early, generally. The arms and the club in the sequence not being in as good a position as they possibly could. So therefore, as they move into the ball, they're simply just not organized in such a fashion to produce that finished position. Yes. Right. So when we're working on achieving this balanced, poised position that you would see with your favorite golfer, having the knees actually kissing almost counterbalances the body. It certainly does. The first time we see a lot of players do this, they'll actually finish with their legs separated. Yes, yeah. A dog could run through the knees. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But at the same time that I did this, I could feel all that pressure going into the ball of the foot for too long. My body was actually feeling like it was going to fall towards the ball. Exactly. So they all follow on, don't they? Yeah.
getting the pressure to the outstep of that front foot, the knees kissing, and the chest extended, because if I have that chest down, all of a sudden I'm falling forward as well.
Yes.
So how would I go and work on this?
Well, I think the first thing is just discovering what it needs to feel like.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times in lessons, I'll maneuver the player. Okay, if need be, I'll help them understand potentially just by, you know, shifting the pelvis over, getting that right side to come through enough. I like to see that there's some space between the hands and the head. Okay, a lot of players, especially players that might struggle with a lot of flip and face rotation, they're going to be constantly in this sort of a finish right here. So understanding a little bit more arm structure and space, just like we talk about width and space in the backswing, width and space in that finish. The knees coming together, ensuring that there's virtually nothing left on that trail foot. Okay, the little toe tap at the end is a good way to sense that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we've done that. I've got a great feeling of where I need to be through the motion. So I would suggest that players at home, just to get a sensation of this, they just make small swings and do this at a slow speed at first, having a little bit of intent of just lightly brushing the ground as you get through, because you can certainly do this exercise. And we see a lot of players try and work on drill swings and they'll be standing too upright.
Yes.
They're not really relating it to a golf swing motion. So get into your golf posture, nice freedom, free-flowing, slow-moving swing, finishing poised. Play around with that finish position a little bit. Get into a spot where you can kind of feel that, okay, are my hips forward enough? Can I squeeze my glutes a little bit more? Can I tap my toe? Is there a bit of a stretch between the hands and that left shoulder for the right-hander? And when I do that, you start to feel this sort of optimal balance point. Sometimes you might feel like you're tipping too far away from the ball, too far towards the ball, but simply just going through those rehearsals over and over again will give you a much better feeling of where you should be, right?
Exactly right.
Great.
And you said one point that I just wanted to highlight. The ability to feel the glutes in the finish, one that I had missed, but making sure when we're trying to feel the chest is high, the pelvis is forward, some players might say, I feel something in the lower back. The instant feedback I say is turn the glutes on.
Yeah.
Okay, fire the glutes, feel like the end of a deadlift, the end of a kettlebell swing, but you use those glutes to contract. That's what brings the hips forward.
Great. All right, let's call it the Superman finish, right?
Love it.
So we're gonna get up, chest is gonna be tall, glutes are going to be firing, can tap that toe, everything put together. I'm gonna feel a little bit of, from this posture, we're gonna get that up, that down, and then that explosive up. Let's see how it comes off the face.
Compressed and to the moon, just what we want.